Aloha, this is State Representative Bob McDermott coming to you from the Capitol, your house, the people's house, because you paid for it. This week I'd like to talk to you about the teacher's contract. Enough already. It's time to settle. Most of our teachers are dedicated professionals who work long and hard hours, who really want the best for our kids. 98% I'd say. Sure, there's a few bad apples in there, but most of these folks want to work hard. Now, they've taken a 5% pay cut for the last several years. That's been restored. All they're asking for is a 2 to 4% increase. That's their bargaining position. Recognize they've lost thousands of dollars in pay, sharing the sacrifice over the last few years. The governor has offered them 2%, but it's not really 2% because their share of the health care costs has gone from 60-40 with the state paying 60 to now a 50-50 split. The average employee is about $1,400 in additional health care costs. So the raise before the teachers to accept from the governor after several years of giving up several $1,000s each year is less than 2%. Less than 2%. It's shameful. Now, anecdotally, we've all had teachers come to us and say, you know, I can't survive. I can't pay my bills. I've taken a pay cut. My health insurance costs have gone up. It's a terrible situation. We all understand that. That's anecdotal evidence. But how do we know that this is really having an impact in our educational system? Well, we have measurements. The state of Hawaii teachers have the second highest absenteeism rate in the nation. Second highest in the nation. Now, some people say, well, because they're around kids and kids get sick and they make teachers sick. Well, I'm a dad. That's partially true, but it's true for the rest of the nation as well. So why would we have the second highest? And then we have a high, by the way, the second highest, and that was, that's a figure that came to us from the Center for American Progress. So I want to document that. That's not something I pulled out of the air. Center for American Progress, and it was written up in the Honolulu Star-Advertiser. Second, that's one metric. High absenteeism. That tells you there's a problem. Second metric is our turnover rate. Each year, we turn over 10% of our teachers leave the DOE. That's excluding retirements. Last year, the measure was 1,200 teachers left the DOE. So you have high absenteeism, and you have high turnover rate. And the turnover rate was documented by the Alliance for Educational Excellence. And they suggested that that turnover rate, the cost of that each year to the state of Hawaii, listen to this. I want to get this right. The cost is $23,895,000 and some change. Well, I believe it. Because when we lose a teacher, we have to go recruit a new teacher. And then we bring them in, and a lot of these folks we're bringing in are from the mainland. We bring them in, we pay for their airfare, lodging, and there's a transition period to get living quarters and so on and so forth. It adds up. $23 million a year. We're being penny wise and pound foolish in this scenario with our teachers. So we have a morale problem. Now, pay is only part of the morale problem. The pay tells the teachers, you know what, we say you're really important. In fact, we say you're the most important thing contributing to a student's education, but we really don't mean it, do we? Because we're giving you the crumbs. So pay is an issue. But another thing affecting morale is the working conditions. And I don't mean medieval working conditions. I mean a teacher at Campbell High School teacher teaching 47 children in a classroom that's 98 degrees. Let me repeat that. A teacher at Campbell High School teaching 47 children in a single classroom that's 98 degrees. This is unacceptable. Worse yet, in order to survive, the teacher goes and buys his own fans just to make life livable. This is what we have going on. And there's some other things. We need to increase planning time. You know, I used to think increase planning time, oh, that the teachers just want some time, extra time off. No, actually, it's a legitimate issue because we have no standard curriculum in our district. We have curriculum standards, but no standard curriculum. So the teachers got to develop their own curriculum. And there's no money at the school level to do that, so they have to do it on their own and on their own time. They need more planning time for that. We need to enforce a hard cap on the number of children in a classroom. If it's 27 or if it's 26, let's go, and that's the hard cap. Anything over that, we need to have an additional class. That's going to cost money, but if education is our concern, if we're serious about our schools, and not spending money on the watershed and some other fantasy ideas and green revolution and all these other things. If we focus on the basics, if we're more concerned about the child's brain shed instead of a watershed, then we need to take care of our teachers. Teachers need to have a say in school policy. What happens is the teachers are constantly tasked with filling out forms and chasing down forms and getting in touch with the parents, not on educational issues of the children, but you didn't fill in this form, and we need this back. That's an administrator's role. We have plenty of people in administration that can do that, not the teacher. And finally, teachers need to believe that parents, and this is where it comes to you and me, that parents stand shoulder to shoulder with them in dealing with problematic children. When I went to school, I don't mean to belie my age, but when I went to school, if the principal called my mom, the principal knew what to expect, that my mom would stand with the principal and say, well, I'll talk to Bobby when he gets home, and we'll straighten this disciplinary problem out. Now, when a principal calls home, quite often the parents are yelling at the principal. It's not acceptable. As a community, we need to stand with our educators and stand with the teachers. Teachers don't want to throw a child out of class if they know nothing's going to happen to that child. Why waste your time on the paperwork? So discipline's an issue. If we address some of the morale issues and we will address the pay inequity, then we will go a long way towards ensuring that we retain quality teachers. The loss of good teachers is devastating to the taxpayers, schools, educators, students, communities that they serve. We need to pay them what they're worth and grant them a 4% raise. We do this, we'll take a nice step toward improving our educational system. Hope you enjoyed it. Aloha, God bless you all. This has been Bob McDermott. We'll see you next week.